Welcome back, everyone, to my series on doing mockups using Bootstrap. And so I just want to remind you what it is we're doing. So we're working on this, and I want to focus on this region here. And we're going to talk a little bit about the grid. We're going to use a thing in Bootstrap called the media object. And so what I want to do is just show you a couple of things I'm going to use that are great for mockups. This is not the only one. In fact, you can just Google lorem ipsum for images or placeholder images or whatever. This got me to lorem pixel. And what's good about this site is you can get examples. I like the placeholder generator. Let's say I needed a 250 by 250 sample image, and I didn't know what to do. I can plug in the dimensions of the image here, X and Y, you'll see that. And I can click abstract, for example, and I can click color image, and it shows me an abstract color image, or I can do gray. And I can click it again, and usually you click, and there's got several different ones you can use. The other thing I want to talk about, and along the same lines, is filler text. This particular one is kind of fun, is this fillerama. And in the fillerama, what you can do is you can pick different television shows. So you've got Arrested Development, Dexter, Doctor Who, Futurama, just general lorem ipsum. I mentioned it, so if you hadn't seen it, there's some general lorem ipsum. Monty Python, Star Wars, and so The Simpsons. So we've got a lot here. So I'm going to use that to grab some of the stuff. And the interesting thing here is, look at this. We got headers, lists, inline styles. If I wanted a list, I can just click on list, and then there it is. I got a list right there. The last thing I want to mention is Bootstrap, because that's what we're doing. We're doing Bootstrap. So the components we're going to work on today are the media body. So I'm going to go to components, and I'm going to scroll down. My connection's a little slow here, and I want to focus on the media objects. So if you go down here to media object allows us to drop a little left or right aligned image alongside text. We're going to take advantage of that. You can nest ones inside of others. You can move it to the right or to the left. You can have one on the left and one on the right. So there's a lot we can do here, and it all comes down to this div right here. Class equals media is the outer div. Inside we have two other divs. One is the media body, the other is media left or media right. If you want the media on the left, like the first example or this part of this example here, you put the div with the media left first. Then you have the div with the media body. And so just keep that in mind. If you want it on the opposite side, you reverse it. You do media body first, then you do media right. And that's what I'm going to be doing on my mockup, because that's the way they have it. There's the media right there. Okay, so that's how I'm going to do it. Notice there's going to be sort of a header, maybe some big text, an image, some smaller text, and a button. Today we're just going to work on getting all those items in, and hopefully we'll be able to finish this whole section here in the time that we have. Doesn't give us a lot of time. And then so let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to go down to the HTML. We have our nav here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit on the HTML so you can see what I'm going to do. And when we are working on this, let me hold on just a second. Let me zoom back out a little. I'll just probably zoom in on the window here on my video later. I'm going to create a div. And one of the things that we did last time is we had this top div has a class of wrapper and a class of container. And what I want to do is have that thing end. Yeah, it ended before the navbar. Notice it had a class of wrapper, a class of container. So I'm going to do that now. Class equals wrapper space container. Should actually be wrapped into one. And then close it. Okay, so that's my outer div. And notice what I did here. Don't do this. That was dumb of me. Put a space in between. If you're going to have two classes, there's no reason to have two class attributes. That's probably not going to go over well in your code. Sorry I even did that. Okay, so this is going to have that middle container. Inside, we're going to have a header. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. We already had a header before, a header level 1. And so there's some debate, and it's been changing back and forth, but I'm going to use the way I used to do this, whereas if you have a header 1, that's the most important. That's the header for the whole thing. So the next one will be a header 2. Okay? And then I'm going to give that header 2 a class of headline. Couldn't remember what I was going to call that. Okay. Headline header, you could put like, yeah, whatever. Okay. So we have a header 2 there. Okay, so we already have this wrapper container. So what that effect should have is it should put that header inside there. We have another problem because we have that big margin on top. I had added the margin above there. So we're going to have to fix that. So let me quick fix that. What I think I'm going to do is take the top margin, maybe make it a little smaller. I'm going to give it a top margin of 1 EM. Okay. I'm going to pull out the background color. I didn't like that. So I'm just going to get rid of the background color on my CSS over here. So now there's not a background color. I do want a bigger top margin here. I don't think that's a good idea to leave it so tight. So rather than add it to the wrapper, I'm going to add another class. And we'll call it top space. We'll just put it top margin. It's a class. So we can add this to anything that we want a little top margin. Well, let's put 2 EM. Well, margin top of 2 EM, excuse me. Okay. Now nothing changes because I haven't changed it in my code. So I just added the class of top margin. So I'm just going to copy that. Scroll up here, and I'm going to add it just to this class, and it moves a little bit more. Make it 4. Let's make it 3. Originally, I had it at 4, but then I kept a 1 EM margin on that wrapper. So as we look here, we can see now it's starting to take shape. We got our headliner. Header goes here. We can style that a little different. And now we're going to go to our grid. All right, to go to our grid, I just want to show you kind of what we're going to do here on this. We have 3 even columns. So we're going to use the 12 grid to break them up into 3 even. So there's going to be a column with a span of 4, 4, 4, which makes up 12. And then in this column, I'm just going to put 2 divs top to bottom. I'm going to add a grid, and there's a reason for it because this is a desktop view. But when we get a little more narrow, we may want to adjust that. So we're going to do that now. So we're going to add our grid. In order to do that, it starts with the div with the class of row, like so. Okay, in it we want our 3 evenly spaced columns on a large layout. Call -LG-4. Okay. I'm just going to copy and paste that 3 times. We want 3 of them. Okay, we got our 3 grids here. And now inside of the first 2, I'm going to add that media body. Okay, so we're going to go, and I showed you where it was, but we might as well just do it here. We're going to do a div with a class of media. That creates our media object. Most of these Bootstrap items end with an outer div with a class that kind of sets it apart. Inside the media, we're going to have a media body and a media right because we had the media on the right hand side. So we're going to put a div class of media body, excuse me, and then a div with a class of media right. Okay, so now we got our media body. Okay, so zoom in on there. Okay, so in our media body, what we're going to do is we're going to add a media heading. We already had a header 2, so this is actually a subsection of that bigger section. Since the bigger section is a header 2, I don't know why I just did that. It's a very touchy keyboard I have. Header 2 there, that's for this whole container. We gave it a wrapper container. I even think we should give it maybe not containers. Excuse me, I meant to put page. And we're going to be able to style this differently if we want. So I apologize, I did that. Okay, so in our media body, we have a header 3 with a class of media heading. I'm going to do a call to action here, so I'm going to label it as such. And then we're going to put a paragraph here. We're going to do some text. So we're going to go to our Filorama. I'm going to choose Star Wars. And then let's just copy a paragraph here. We already have a let's blow this thing and go home. So I can just paste it here. I think it might be a good idea to put a little break in our paragraph. Sorry about that. Close our other paragraph. Open a new one. Close it over here. Okay, let's take a look, see what it's looking like so far. You're all clear, kids. Let's blow this thing and go home. The more you tighten your grip, we got some action going on here. Now you're wondering, why doesn't it do the grid? Well, we haven't put anything in any of our other divs, and until we do, it's not going to work. So let's go ahead. At the bottom of this paragraph, we need to have a button. And instead of creating a standard button, we're going to create a hyperlink. We give it a class of btn for button. And then href, and we're just going to do a dummy link like so. Now I'm going to create it like a button. Let's go buy our product. That's what a call to action is. It's telling the user to do something, and usually in the form of a button. And so in order to get this button to work, we're going to add another little class of button btn, and then there's a bunch of different settings you can do. btn primary, for example. Let's scroll and take a look at the button. That's primary. See, buy our product. btn info. You have to change it. Call to action. There, it's a lighter teal sort of color. All right, there are others. Success, warning. Success will be green, warning will be yellow. You get the idea. Okay, the last thing I want to do is our media right. So we're going to use our image from here, lorem pixel. I'm going to do about a 100 by 100 and see the size of that. Do a color image. I think we can do a 125 by 125. Click it again. That's pretty good. That's animals, so I think I'm going to do nightlife. And don't even know what that is. Pick this dude. Copy, image, address. We have a hyperlink in case we want to link to it. And then we're going to do our IMG. src equals, paste the address, alt equals nightlife image, like so. So that's our general image tag, but there's one more piece we need to do when we use a media object, and that is give it a class. So in this image, we're also going to give it a class of media object. Like so. Let's take a look. There it is. Media is lined up on the right. Everything looks good so far. In my next tutorial, we're going to go ahead and fill that out for the rest of them. And if you want, we can do it a little bit faster so you can just watch me going through all of these.